May 12th, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It's kind of like a V-shape sell-off and then a big bounce. The only economic data that came out today was the core CPI numbers, which is around 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is about right over here. I saw a little bit of the news. It was something that I think inflation is going up. And so this might have caused that sell-off, and then it kind of consolidated and then bounced back up. It was hard for me to find really big, clean channels to fit everything in. So this looks kind of like a mess here because initially I had a whole bunch of other stuff, and this is the remnants of after all that happened. I also just had trend lines drawn that I could never establish as actual channels. So it was helpful just to keep an eye out on where bounce points might be, but whether it was actually floating in a channel or not was a little bit harder for me to find out. I was playing mostly these smaller channels, and then I identified a couple of setups, or maybe a few setups, and I actually took one trade and was profitable. So I'm going to go into the trades right now. So pre-market, it does look like it's moving down one leg, bounce up, makes a second leg. So it's like two big legs down, a bounce, and then maybe two smaller legs again, but it's hitting this consolidation area. I try to make a channel fit, but it really only looked like maybe a trend line could fit right here, but it quickly leaves any, well, prices quickly just kind of keep moving on that this channel isn't really even needed, or this trend line. Go ahead and delete it. It's this consolidation zone. It's the low side, bounces up. Right before the open, you have a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, but it's just kind of congested here. And then on the open, it starts flushing down. So it starts moving down. It's below the EMA. I'm looking for reasons to go short. Initially, it's since been deleted. I thought there was some kind of channel here, and then I treated this as a fail breakout, looking for a potential fail breakout down here. So it's moving down. I established this channel because it has one touch, two touch, three touch, but there's no trades that's set up. Go ahead and delete this for now. You do have a new low, first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short here, but I want to see a break above here. And then my concern was it looks like it's having trouble continuing to move down. So I wasn't ready to just kind of sell right here. Pushes down, hits the low side and confirms this blue down channel. Then it kind of pushes back up. So it starts moving up. Doesn't really look like there's a definitive second and first entry short till about right here. But it looks like it's staggering up and kind of making some choppy moves up. So I established this green up channel to break here, test the high. So I'm a little weary of going high right now, or excuse me, going long after I already tested the high. Technically, there's this localized swing low here. It's a first entry short pullback. Second entry short is the inside bar. I don't really like that. I'm looking for a lower high. You get a lower high that eventually shows up here, but it's a wrong colored signal bar. Continues down. Hits here. It looks like it's bottoming out because at the time, this is the low of day. Then reverses back up and it flushes back down again. So this area was, for me, hard to try to find a clean setup or hard to definitively call a clean setup. So it pushes down, pushes down again. You can see this dotted line here. That is the low of day in real time. It just keeps making lower lows. It hits this consolidation area. Technically, you have the lowest low of day, first entry short pullback, second entry short. This isn't really an inside bar, but this is your signal bar to get ready to go short, and it didn't look that good. And then the follow through wasn't that great either. Plus, I was at the time thinking I'm in this range, so I don't want to be selling into here necessarily just yet. Hits the low of day, pushes up, break of this green up channel, test the high. Now, I actually thought this might have been a possible trade, but only good for a 1 point scalp because I was playing in real time this potential channel. Right now, I did have this trend line established. It's been slightly tweaked, and I also had another aggressive trend line, something like this, touching this here, but it didn't look quite right. Then I actually dragged it up to here. And I couldn't really justify this as a clean touch. There was no real clean touch rejection here, but based on the merits of just this range, I thought it was a break of the green up channel, tested the high. So this green up channel is played out. Prices look like they're bearish or starting to become bearish bias. It was a first entry short, second entry short, fail breakout. I'm expecting prices to move back down. So I thought this is a good trade, but not for 6 ticks. I'd have to go for 1 tick, not 6 ticks. I thought my trade that I wanted to go for was 6 ticks, and I was concerned it was going to run into this EMA. So I thought this might have been good enough for a 1 point scalp. But even then, I wasn't that crazy about it, but I thought it was a possible trade. In this case, it would have worked for both 1 and even 2 points, but in real time, I didn't see that. So now I'm just looking for a lower high, ideally inside this range to trust it. And it gives you a localized high, first entry long pullback. Kind of have a second entry long here, but I'm not that excited about this second entry long because it's kind of in this area that it's really busy. And it's giving me a lot of false, not necessarily false signals, but signals that are hard to really trust because the EMA is flattening out. I'm right at the high of what I think is this trading range. So I am technically above it. Is it really going to move upwards or is it going to continue back downwards on a day that it's kind of showing bearish? So call it an almost trade, nothing there for me. Pushes up, pushes through, break, test the high. It's also, I established this yellow up channel, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. It does fit nicely on the high side, which is what I found first. And I try to connect the low side. Low side itself, this just looks very choppy right now. I would trust this channel a lot more if there's more price action that kind of respected the highs and the lows, but it just doesn't happen. It kind of flushes back down. And then I try to find another channel that kind of fits it. I found this as a trend line initially, and then when it created this second touch, that's when I turned it into a yellow, excuse me, an orange down channel. There's no clean second entries. Small little break here, and it continues downwards. So looking to the left, I'm thinking, okay, this is clearly selling off. Maybe it's the news, maybe it's something else. Break, test the low, kind of consolidates here. Looks like it's respecting this as a potential support area. Starts pushing up. You can see I drew this blue trend line here, but I could not turn it into a channel because it didn't really fit or confirm anything. So although there's this support being respected here, that's all I really have. So it's more of a not a key entry point so much as if I was in a trade short and prices are getting close to this, I'd be aware of it and know that this isn't necessarily a key entry point, but this trend line is something I have to be aware of and cautious that it could find resistance here. So not strong enough to make into a channel, but always just something I kept in mind. Localized low, first entry short, second entry short, it's terrible signal bar, looking for a lower high. And you kind of get a lower high here, but it just followed 3 separate candles with small bodies and big wicks. So I'm not sure about this. Plus the break of this orange down channel is tested low. So I'm not really sure what I'm looking at here and whether the prices are going to continue downwards or not. The prices continue moving down. It almost comes back down to the low of day, stops and continues moving back down again. I mean, you could find technically second entry longs and second entry shorts if you really went by the technical count, but context wise, it wasn't as clear to me. That would have been what was going to happen next. The price will continue moving down. Break of this orange pushes up, pushes above the EMA, then pushes back down again. Technically, you have a new low here. It's a first entry short, second entry short. This is a doji. And then when this occurred, so I still have this blue line established, I drew this red line, that I'm kind of cycling through the colors right now. I drew this red line going down as a potential trend line. So this is what I would use as a key entry point, even though I didn't establish it as a channel yet, but it's something because my bias or my feeling is prices are moving down. So if prices set up to here, gives me a lower high or something, and it rejects off this 3-touch confirmation now, then I could trust it and use this as another key entry point. But I wouldn't trust it enough to use it as the main basis of a trade. Like if I had no other real setup except a rejection off this red resistance coming down, it has to be coupled with like a clean setup, like a first entry short, second entry short. Unfortunately, this is a terrible signal bar. And ideally, if it came back up and touched and reversed down and it's a lower high, then I would trust this as a valid, I guess, key entry point to help reinforce the setup. The prices move down. So now it's coming down here. It kind of touches, it rides along this blue down channel. So essentially I have a wedge right now. Prices are clearly selling off, but I don't have a clean channel defining anything. But at least I do have this red down channel resistance that I could use as a key entry point if I was going short. And then this blue down channel going down, not necessarily to take a long off of, but more as a guideline to know, hey, if I'm in a short, just be very aware that this blue line's coming down. Again, it kind of bounces. It gets really choppy. You have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Unfortunately, it's above the EMA, wrong color on my chart. Pushes back up. As you can see, I try to draw this as a channel moving up. There's a fail breakout. I tried to include these at one point, but then it clearly kept moving up. And then I found the secondary channel here. So I actually squished this one back down to here. And I thought maybe it's moving up this blue up channel, which kind of fits pretty well, but there's no setups forming. It starts moving down this orange down channel. Technically, you have a first entry long here and then a second entry long, but these are just, by the technical count, second entry long, but there's no setup here. Looks like it's just one big orange leg down. The breakout on one side, it reverses back up. There's a first entry short, pull back, second entry short, wrong signal bar color, and then it gives you a lower high. Unfortunately, the lower high is coming right into this EMA. EMA at times seemed like it was reliable. As you can see, it's kind of highlighted with dots. It seemed like it was reliable as maybe a support, but then maybe as resistance. But over here, it's ambiguous. So it already takes away one of my key entry point, one of my things I could count as the key entry point. So I just had to leave it alone. Pushes down, hits the support area, break this orange down channel, test the low, pushes back up again, and it actually sets up a possible trade, but I thought this was aggressive. At this point, I tried to make this as my starting point for a potential channel down. As you can see, if I try to cut it sharper, then I have all these violations later. So I kept this as the first initial point. This is the swing. And as you can see, it kind of moves down and you have small breakouts here. So this red one that's transparent right now, other than the low side, it might be in play. But then I also started a channel here, this gray one coming down. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this because it's something I was thinking about before. This gray one looks like it's valid. There's a breakout here. It really kind of confirms the low side only maybe 2 times, but the high side it kind of touches, so it's acting as resistance. So when it comes down here, it's potentially acting as resistance here. So when it was pushing up, I saw this as a new low, first entry short, pull back. Let me drag it back. I saw this pick up, reject off this gray down channel resistance, engulf it completely and close at the low. I thought this green up channel may not necessarily test the high again because this is such a strong push down. Overall bias for the day is going lower. It broke through this support area that I was concerned about, closed at the low. This might actually be a possible trade. It's admittedly a little more aggressive, but I thought that was a possible trade. I didn't have the courage to take it though. Pushes down and then continues, starts reversing up. I thought this might have been a channel moving up, but then it starts rallying very aggressively. So I thought maybe it's moving up this green up channel, break, and it starts moving sideways. I saw this as a potential second entry long, but I didn't mark it because it's not a clean second entry long. It's too congested. I'm worried about buying into the potential resistance. So it starts moving up. I thought it was one leg pullback, but then the second leg is so long, I just thought maybe it's actually part of this one big yellow leg up. With this one big yellow leg up, if there's a break, it could create another second leg up. I'm also thinking the sell-off here is losing steam because previously there was all these lower lows and lower highs, but it did hit this consolidation area. This consolidation area is failing to really push down lower. It almost did it here, but it's starting to reverse up really strongly. So I was thinking this is probably going to start reversing upwards to give us maybe another attempt up. So it became a first entry long pullback. Technically, I have a second entry long here, and this sets up for my one trade. I thought it actually looked like it's one big leg down. Break of this orange down channel is tested low. EMA looks like it was holding. This is the first break of this orange down channel tested low. This could be the second attempt, but it reversed back up. I thought this was a pretty strong signal bar. I was thinking this isn't quite a triple test, but I was thinking there's probably going to be enough momentum to try to test the high here. So I entered one tick above here, going for 6 ticks, which I believe I had enough room with. Pushes up my 6 ticks, no runner, I'm not trying anything like that. And then continues up, hits this, pushes back down, then I think I'm in a range. So I'm thinking to push up, 2 legs down, like 2 leg correction, and then it might make another big push up. So that's what I was thinking in real time, but it's also ranging right now. So localized low, first entry short, second entry short. Unfortunately, it's the inside bar. Then it starts pushing up. It starts pushing up and breaking out of this range, and it falls into this second range. So I'm just watching this, and I'm thinking, I'm not so sure this is going to occur, this big spike up, but it does look like it's biasing up. So I'm not looking for shorts now because this looks like it's played out with these lower lows and lower highs plus this consolidation area. But I still think this big leg here, this yellow one, could create another one, maybe not as clean, right about here. So I'm expecting prices to maybe move back up to here. So I was looking for reasons in setups to go long. You have a localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, but it's also looking like it's range bound. Unfortunately, this wasn't the right signal bar color. I didn't have this red up channel to act as a key entry point. And at one time I was thinking this was a potential channel, but it just looked too shallow with prices moving too sideways. So I went back and made it transparent. And then when it broke out and moved back in, unless it continued obeying this as an actual channel, I wasn't going to color it in. So it bounces, continues upwards. So it created 2 overlapping channels and it continues upwards now. It moved nicely up this green up channel, but there's no nice setups. It does give you what I thought is maybe a possible trade. So it's a localized high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long, strong engulfing. EMA is acting as support now. There are some violations, but it looks like it was a pretty strong engulfing trigger bar because this is the signal bar, but I wasn't too sure of it. You do have enough room for 6 ticks, but just barely. And I didn't really want to go for a 1 point scalp. I wanted to go for my 6 ticks, 1.5 points. And unfortunately, this signal bar left a little bit of doubt, but I thought it was enough for a possible trade that's just 1 point, although it might be a little aggressive. Looks like I took the measurement, I think, later, and I think it actually moved 6 ticks. So it would have been dicey whether I would have gotten a scalp because my stop on that kind of trade definitely would have been 1 tick below here, and this signal bar would have stopped me out. So it would have pushed up, probably missed my exit, and then stopped me out here. If I was going for 1 point scalp, which is probably a more prudent thing because this is the high that I'd be worried about. And if he did extend it upwards, maybe this is the high, but I liked it lower because there's a little more confirmation, a little more conservative. It would have been more of a safer 1 point trade. Potential fail breakout, pushes, another potential fail breakout corresponding on this side. Starts moving up. When it creates this, that's when I try to make this all fit, but trying to start it from down here didn't yield very clean channels. So I thought maybe there's a spike and then maybe the channel started here. It kind of fits, but not convinced entirely that it's quite valid because it doesn't look very clean. So it never got colored in. Pushes up. Looks like it's moving up this green up channel, pushes back down. It does touch bounce off of here. So this is at least a valid, maybe trend line, but not a channel. Pushes back up again here. And it kind of moves because this is the last 30 minutes. It moves choppily upwards, kind of making a nice V reversal. So it pushes down and pushes back up. But considering the time of day, and I was already profitable for one trade, I wasn't going to try to get another trade or even hunt for really another trade. I just kind of watched this move into the close. So it's kind of the volume wasn't too bad, but I didn't think it really translated to too many setups that I thought were safe. Maybe like 3 total setups, and a couple of them were aggressive. So I actually hope there's going to be more days like this because it offers more opportunities than what it has been in the last couple days, couple weeks. So yeah, pretty much happy with my one trade. Squeaked it out. Didn't Not trying to be too ambitious and score anything else. A little more conservative with my runners, just by not taking any at the moment until I see or feel like things are really clearing up and I have a good feel of what's going on. So hopefully that was helpful.